Hey everybody, it's ET. It's April 9, 2020, 6 o'clock p.m. I was in the middle of refactoring some grid data on my editor, so I think we'll just get to do that. And look, behind me is just a live feed of Times Square, 6 p.m. Central. I don't know what that means in New York time, like 7 p.m.? Or is it, yeah, is it ahead of us? Probably. Okay, cool. So let's get this started. I'm gonna open up Unity and Rider. Oh, and I'll show you guys that once I finish doing what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I don't remember where I left off, so you might have to just give me a second to get all this stuff in place. Okay, so I think in general I was trying to get the grid data on its own Unity data object. Is that right? I think so. So I'm just looking at the errors and see what's going on. Close that out. Yeah. I need OBS. Okay, yeah. Make this a little bigger. Can collapse that. Okay. So right, tile grid no longer has a grid? I think tile grid's supposed to have a grid. Oh, right, I kind of remember where we left off now. I think what was happening was we have layers, and then each layer has a grid object, but when I have my tile grid, I only had one tile grid with one grid object, and it actually held all the different cells for the grid. I'm thinking of maybe making a tile grid per layer, but I'm not sure if that's what I want to do either. Yeah. So here we go. I have tile grid cells. Has the tile grid. But I can't have the actual grid here. Maybe I'll just have a list of layers, and the layers will have the grid. I think that sounds good. Do I even need the tile prefab anymore? I don't think so. I think that's now handled with tile background. Is that right? So tile grid background has this tile grid cell, which has, yeah, this empty thing. Great. Now, so for the tile grid itself, what this probably needs is a list of layers, and maybe we can always, but you see the list of layers is just to get entities layer, so I don't even think I need that. Okay. So basically you don't have a grid. So what are we talking about here? So when we're trying to sync the grid and layer size, I don't think we need to do that anymore. The layer will have its own grid size. So yeah, we won't need to worry about doing this. So I might even delete this class. Well, for the time being, let's just comment it out. So now that update's not doing anything. What else? What else we got going on? Yeah, this is the meat of the tile, like rendering the actual tiles, and this is the update tile grid. And I think both of these are on update tile grid, which looks like to be the case. So yeah, we'll just focus on this actual thing, this class. Yeah. So here we go. So when we're removing the background cells, let me see. Alright, so tile background still has a grid. I'm not sure that I want to do that either. I think you should just have your prefab. Layers has the grid. But what we'll do is we'll get the max grid size. That way, yeah, I think that makes sense. We'll just call this like the largest grid. I guess this will have to be called grid data. And then look for each layer and get entities item 1 layer. If largest grid, well, alright, first, if you don't even have a largest grid, go ahead and say largest grid equals layer dot grid. Else if the largest grid size, I guess dot magnitude, you could do dot square magnitude, that would be a little easier. Magnitude's fine too, right? Alright, square magnitude. So if the magnitude, I think we need to look at each. Oh, alright. So I guess we have to look at each x and y. Alright, so what are we doing here? I gotta remind myself how the code works. So we're just getting the count of cells. We're getting each cell. And we're destroying the cell. Okay. I gotta reimagine how this is gonna work. I think for the background, I'm just gonna grab the largest x and y and make the whole background, you know, the right size. So do we actually add it to grid cells, or do we just yeah, I think we should have a list of cells, is that right? Maybe you do keep your grid data. Okay. Never mind for me. Let's go ahead and just say grid data. You have a grid, and sure. The grid equals the tile background grid. Okay, so for removing the background cells, we do have a list of cells. We do have a size, I guess, yeah. Okay. And we're checking if the cell is out of range. And if it is out of range, we're going to go ahead and try to get the tile grid cell. I almost just want to destroy. I definitely get removing it from the list. Like, I really just want to destroy the cell too. Like, how do I just destroy the cell? Can I just do that? Better yet, the game object itself? I mean, I think I could do it either way. So we're going to destroy the game object, which should in turn destroy... Oh, wait, even better. I think you have a function called destroy. So you can destroy yourself, which will in turn call your onDestroy function and then destroy the game object. Yeah, I like that. And then cell, which I think I have a reference to, has an onDestroy where it'll destroy all its instances. Yeah, okay. I think that's the shorter way to do this. And look, I'm gonna say outside grid size. I'm basically naming this whole crazy thing. And we'll just say outside grid. If you're outside the grid, if cell is outside grid, which kind of just does this. Oh, I don't like that. Let's, I guess this is fine. Okay. If cell is outside grid, destroy the cell and remove it. Okay. I think that makes sense. Okay. So that handles the remove out of range cells, at least for the background. Add missing background cells. Oh damn, I think that was for the, oh no, I was doing the right one. I'm just collapse all of this. Alright, so we handled the remove one. Alright, so add missing background cells. So if there's not a cell that's, you know, has the XY position, we're gonna go ahead and create the cell, add the XY, and then what's going on with my camera? I don't know. Let's go ahead and figure that out, I guess. Sorry, camera issues. Oh, yep, it came back. And then we're checking if there's a tile grid cell. If not, we're gonna go ahead and create that graphic. And I think that's all fine and dandy. And we're just basically instantiating that prefab. Right. Okay. But here's the deal. Who's updating this grid? What's the sizes? Oh, that's how we're... I see. Let's see. On move selection to square. Yep. And update grid. Alright, so that sync thing, I think we're gonna have to still do this. But just this part. I think we cannot have to worry about this part. Oops. But we'll still do the background. Okay. So good that we kept that. I feel like I'm doing this for each layer and that's not quite right. I'm just gonna break here. Just grabbing the first layer and then breaking. I know it's not great, but I don't think I need to run it so many times per layer. Alright, so what else we got going on? Alright, so on the update tile grid, we're still trying to grab this grid, and that's not quite right. So this is what I'm going to pass in actually. We're gonna get for each layer and get entities item 1 layer. We're gonna pass in the layer and the tile grid. Okay. And so that's this guy. Let's see if I can fix this. Change list of cell to layer. Yeah. And then hopefully change. Oh, no. I did that wrong. Change type of parameter to layer. Yeah. And then, oops, wrong button. Change type of parameter to tile grid. Yeah, so now I got the right stuff going into this function. So now we don't need to get the list of layers. That's good. But we do have the layer. You're actually called layer. So you do have a grid, so we could say, yeah, I don't even think I need that. So we're gonna go, we have the layer. I guess we're gonna grab each cell. For each var cell in layer dot grid dot cells dot cells. If the cell position is, okay. Right. I think we have layer.grid.size x, layer.grid.size y. Don't worry about the layer. Okay. If you're out of range, then we're gonna go ahead and destroy cell.destroy, and we're also gonna remove it from our layer.grid.cells.remove cell. Okay. Is that what we want to do? We're checking each cell in your layer. Oh, but what if you're... I guess when you delete the cell, we should also delete all your cells, right? When you do delete the layer, we should delete all the cells in that layer. So I'm gonna have to make sure we do that. So this is checking for the size. Remove out of range cells, yeah. And then we'll do the add missing cells. Oh, I got some bracket problems. Maybe that. Okay. Now for add missing cells, can I just pass in the layer tile grid again. I'm just paste that. Oh, let's change this to tile grid. We don't even need the tile grid, do we? Well, here. I'm gonna copy this. Then I'm gonna delete this. Delete this. But keep it for this guy. And then, alright, we have the layers. Alright, so, yep, we are looking at each layer. Okay, we got the layer grid. I don't even think we need that anymore. Alright, so we got layer grid, size. Yeah. Alright, so when we're thinking about cells, we're thinking about the cells in the tile grid, right? So instead of that, we'll get the layers. I'll just put grid in here. Alright, so I'm gonna get grid dot cells, first or default, using that. If you don't have that cell, continue, because I guess you'll eventually get it. I hope so. Then we're gonna get components where we see if you're a tile grid cell. I guess we still need a prefab, even if it's empty. Yeah, probably so. Alright, so we're gonna need tile grid prefab. I think we still need it. Public game object prefab. Empty tile prefab. And that prefab is gonna be here under prefab, this tile, we'll just call you empty tile, so it has no sprite, your tile grid cell. Yeah, that seems good. Ooh, is it tile grid cell or empty tile? I don't remember. Oh, it looks like you remember. Empty tile, okay. Tile grid empty tile prefab. Go ahead and put that on the grid. I'm thinking more on the tile grid. Transform. Okay. Then we set the position and everything. We set your sprite renderers. think that makes sense. Okay. Well, I think that looks good. How's my errors? No errors? Cool. I'm pretty sure it won't work, but we're getting there. Okay, so we have an error. Update tile grid can't access an instance on line 17, which is the actual grid, right? So who's making this? Alright, so if you're not grid, let's go ahead and just make it tile background that grid equals unity data dot create grid data. Let's just do this here. That would work maybe? What about you? What's your problem? Same thing? 32? Yeah, okay. Let's see what happens. No errors, but definitely some problems. Okay, I think we still need to sync up size. Let's see. Alright, so you're going here. You actually have cells. Oh, but you don't have... Oh, you have instances too. Yeah. Okay, well... I see that. And you're supposed to be a grid square, which is correct. But I guess... Oh, on the actual tile grid, do you have any of that? Let's see. That's under... Not even there. It's here. Tile grid cells. Okay. Okay, yeah, you do have the tile grid layer. The sprite is set to none though. Yet the cell is set to none as well, right? Oh, right, but the background doesn't have anything set. So we need to actually render the background. I think we got the grid data, but we need to somehow render that stuff. So, was that what I was just working on, or was I working on something else? I don't remember. Let's see. We did the add missing cells. Maybe it's under the add missing background cells. Oh my god, what am I doing here? Oh yeah, there's stuff going on there. Okay, let's see. Definitely creating the cell. Then we're looking for the grid cell. What prefab are we passing in here? Tile grid cell. Which should, yep. Oh, but are we not creating it? Or do you have one? I'm playing this again and I'm gonna just see something right quick here. Alright, so for my background, we have this grid, which has a size 3 by 3, which is perfect. Then we have this element, cell 37, which doesn't have a sprite. Okay. So you have 37. We got the sprite. I think the sprite actually has all the right data, like 0, 0. Like if I click maybe one more in the middle, yeah, like 1, 1. So it has this, but then if we check out your instances, we do have that, and it is a grid square. The position seems right. Oh, but it's inside. Oh, it's adding it to the grid. Yeah, I see. I see the problem. We're adding it to the grid and that's not being rendered at all. This actually has to go straight to the tile grid. Am I not passing that in? Oh yeah, there's all sorts of craziness going on. Look, in here, what I want to pass in is D. Honestly, I want to just pass in the tile grid background. Everything I need should be there. Can we just? Alright, I'm going to change the parameters on this guy. So it's just tile grid background. And look, we can get the size by saying tile grid background dot grid dot size. We can get cells by saying tile grid background dot grid dot cells. If we want the prefab, we can just say prefab equals tile grid background dot cell dot prefab. What else do we need? And then tile grid background dot transform is where we're going to add this. And I think that is everything. Okay, so that looks good. Nice. Alright, I think the background seems to be working again. How about the layers? Ooh, the layers are not being my friends right now. Or, oh, maybe they are. I just had them backwards in my head. So let's do 3, put that on the top. Oh yeah, that seems fine. If you bring that back down. Okay. There's a chance I got this working, right? Alright, I'm going to take out the UI for a second. So like tile grid background should just be our like background cells, which is these grid squares. Tile grid cells are going to be each one of my layers. Oh, let's try deleting a layer. Yeah, I figured maybe. The grid cells might not be deleting correctly. Yeah, that might just have to be handled on the delete, because that's had it checking in here, or maybe I could still check it in here somehow. What is keeping you guys alive is what I need to figure out. So have view. Alright, so if I delete layer 1, are you still a thing? Yeah. How about you? Oh, okay, so I'm gonna check if you're active. I'm gonna check if the layer is active or not. So in remove out of range cells, I'm not only going to check the layer grid cells for their positioning, I also just want to check let's just do a for loop. I'll say like var I equals do I even need the layer? This should actually be the tile grid. Might just do this in a whole different function, maybe. Yeah, alright. So we're going to see the tile grid transfer child count -1, I greater than or equal to 0, I plus I minus minus. If we'll put child in a variable equals tile grid dot transform dot get child I. And so we have the child, we want to get the cell, so we have the tile grid, what do we have? You don't really see it here. So we'll have the cell, which is this prefab, where you'll have a tile grid cell script. And that tile grid cell, if tile grid cell, if not tile grid cell or not tile grid cell dot cell or not tile grid dot cell tile grid cell layer or not tile grid cell dot layer dot active. Is that the active that I want? No, that's not the active that I want. Layer dot game object dot active or enabled. There we go. Then we'll remove this child. Tile grid dot transform destroy child dot transform dot game object. That seems right. Okay, so hopefully that deletes the cells after you paint on it, or not. What am I missing here? Okay, I gotta take a quick break, but I'll be back later to finish this off and hopefully move on. But I need to finish this refactor first. Alright, see you guys. Oh, let me commit my code, even if it's not ready yet. What did we do? I'm going to say continue refactor of grid data to Unity data instead of ECS component. And I'm just going to grab all of this and I'm just going to commit it. Okay, I'll be back in just a little while. See you guys later.